Clash of Clans podcast presents The War Log, Episode 1.
Alright, I'm back with Jake from One Hive. This is going to be the first episode of a recurring series that we're going to have on the podcast. Really excited about this. Thanks for joining me, Jake.
Dude, what is up?
Not too much. You got your Miller Lite ready, or what you drinking tonight?
Dude, it's Makers tonight.
It's a weekend.
Yeah, it's a weekend, and I blame my wife that I went to the fridge the other day and there was no Miller Lite. It was barren, so I'm a little bit mad.
It's a good excuse to drink whiskey, though.
Yeah.
Well, Jake and I were really hoping to be able to talk about some update stuff tonight, because this was the first day of sneak peeks from Supercell, so there's been all these quote-unquote leaked updates that have been coming out, so we were hoping that maybe with the first couple sneak peeks we'd be able to tell which of the updates was real, or stuff like that. Get a little bit of an idea of it. But of course, the most boring update was the thing that was released first, the level 13 cannons, and all of the leaked ones included level 13 cannons. It was pretty
I think
obvious.
I think they did it on purpose. They were like, okay, we know that one of the leaks is real, and we're not going to let you guys know at least for another day. So here's your 13 cannon that everybody knew was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So whatever.
Yeah, it's just the most boring possible update to happen. I mean, it's the most predictable and just the most boring of all the defenses. And anyway, it's just they
and
just
why?
Did Archer Tower.
Why is there not a forum exclusive? There's always one that they show, and there's always the forum exclusive. Why'd they not do that this time?
Well, they've had 3 forum exclusives that apparently were fake and either were photoshopped. They were always saying they're photoshopped, but I talked to someone who said that they saw one of them on the forums. So, and he was a clanmate of mine, so I think at least one of them was actually posted on Anushka's account, or maybe that was an urban legend that he ran with or something, but he said he was on there and he saw it. So, and then there's these other ones that came out, I don't know if it was yesterday, that went on Supercell's whatever it is, App Store page. Yeah. And those weren't photoshopped, I know, because I've seen 4 different screenshots of them on different devices, and Android and iPhone, and they all look different. So I mean, someone would have had to have gone in and made all these different screenshots. And I talked to some people who said they had seen it on the App Store. So I think this is definitely Supercell putting this stuff out themselves.
And honestly, the last update that was leaked quote was spot on, and so maybe after this happened, they're like, okay, time to throw some smoke and mix it up and not let them know until it's actually here, or until the sneak peeks reveal it. So maybe, I don't know.
But it doesn't seem like it was really, the last one was really leaked, because it was the Supercell staff that does the sneak peeks. It was her that put it out, but then Marika came out the next day with a misdirection one, which made it seem like they hadn't meant to put the other one out, or that it was a joke. But it can't be an accident. It can't be that Anushka's this rogue Supercell staff that's putting out, I don't know if that's what they want us to believe, but there's been so many updates that have come out, and it seems like there's got to be stuff from some of them that has to be real. So
I think once it's all said and done and the update's actually here, you'll probably be able to take pieces from each of them, and some of it's real. So who knows what's what? We could talk about each individual aspect of it, but you don't know until it's sitting in your lap, in your iPad, and you're seeing the notes. What's what?
And there was some good stuff in the last. I mean, I was really impressed with the last update. They really came strong. They had a whole bunch of new stuff in there. Mm-hmm. And one thing that was common to the first couple leaked sneak peeks was the heroes being able to use upgraded upgrading heroes
Yeah,
in war, which would be just amazing. I mean, that would save everybody in all serious war clans a lot of money, but I think it just seems silly because it would cost Supercell a lot of money. I mean, so many people gem their hero, the time on their heroes, so it seems, I don't know, like not in their best interest.
And I always hear that about people when we hear about something like that, and they say, "Oh no, they won't do it. It costs them too much money." But to me, I look at how many serious war clans are out there, and look at the number, and let's say there's, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 members of quote serious war clans.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a drop in the bucket. It's
That's true.
It's so, if you look at the number, I mean, I heard this the other day on I can't remember if it was a podcast or where I heard it, that there was like 217,000 new downloads per day. And if that's if that's even remotely accurate, then we are such the minority. If they gave us all max heroes, they wouldn't notice the difference in income.
Yeah.
You know?
Huh. Because I mean, I think it's pretty crazy for any farmers to be gemming hero times, because it's,
they wouldn't.
I mean, it's a huge amount of gems for, like, what, why do you need it a few days early if you're just farming? So.
Yeah, and if you're arching, for the most part, you're looking for collector rates.
I
don't believe that. I don't think that's the majority. But it's overdue in my opinion. I mean, war is becoming someone that has the wallet to say, okay, I'm going to do it. They have it. It's not pay to win, but it's in that direction. And I don't think Supercell's interested in that. I really don't.
Well, and something else I've noticed is that when people, say things like, they're all about the money, and I was talking about this on the Daddy interview, that's a kind of a go-to thing that people have, is to complain that Supercell's greedy and blah blah blah. But there's just some more things I was thinking about the other day, where, like, when they did the hero nerf, and they just gave everybody who asked for money, they just gave them their money back without needing to prove that they had spent the gems on heroes, without needing to do anything. Anybody that came with their hand out and said, hey, like, that's not cool, they just were like, oh, okay, here, I'm going to give you, refund all your money that you've spent in the last, whatever it was, 6 months. And another thing I've heard is that people, I guess I don't want to, I don't know how much I want to run this out there, but different things that people do, different things that they can say, where they just go to Supercell with various excuses and reasons, and just Supercell just gives them their money back, and it's pretty common.
And it's common, but and I don't believe it either. I've not been to Finland, I've not met the people, but when you watch the YouTube videos and you see the people talking about that, every one of them said, I mean, you gotta think about this. These guys are making $1.6 million per day in-app purchases. They are not all about the money. The money is made. They can all go home and forget about it and never have to worry about money again the rest of their lives. So I don't believe that. I think they love the game. I think it's something they want to continue for years and years. So I don't buy that either. I really don't.
And I mean, even if you're just looking at it as like a financial standpoint, the happier you keep your players, the longer they're going to play, and the longer the game is going to stay popular and relevant and stuff. So
exactly,
I mean,
and
it's all a long-term thing.
Not to segue, but that segues right into what we talked about with some of my viewers on the cheating aspect of it. They talk about, oh no, they'll never do it because these cheaters spend money. And I was like, guys, that is such a short-sighted view. And I hope that Supercell doesn't have that view, because cheating takes away from, I spend money on this game. You spend money on this game. The fair play community, in my opinion, is by far the vast majority. We are not the minority. So to say, oh, they're not going to ban these people because they spend money, that's bullcrap. They don't want people like me and you quitting. They want to keep it a fair game, and so I don't buy that.
Well, and a lot of these people in the top, like, the real top war clans, the Max Town Hall 10 war clans, the ones where IMOD is used, by everybody in every clan, they what are they spending money on? They all have level 40 heroes and max
Exactly.
bases. So where are they even spending money? I mean, they've spent money to get there,
Right.
but they always say statistically that it's like the casual player, the middle, the quiet masses that are the ones that are spending the majority of the money, little bits here and there,
Mhm.
and that's where the money, because there's just so many more of them than there are of the serious war players or the serious pushers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because per person they spend way more money, especially pushers,
Mhm.
but there's just so many more of the little guys.
Exactly. I
So,
told someone the other day, I said, they were talking about it in Group Me or Line, I can't remember. And they were talking about how, no, those guys are what pays for Supercell. And I was like, whoa,
mhm,
whoa, whoa. I was like, hold on. Let's say there's 1,000, and which would be a big number. You think about the
mhm,
top 200, whatever. Let's say 5 times that. There's 1,000 guys out there that are big money spenders that spend
mhm,
anywhere from $50 to $100 a day, which, by the
mhm,
way, I don't think there's that many. But let's say there
mhm,
are. That's like 30 to 40,000 a year for that thousand. You're
mhm,
talking about 30 to 35 million a
mhm.
year for Supercell. They make 1.6 million a day. Those guys are nothing. They're nothing to them. By
Yeah.
far the majority is the casual player, the $5 a month.
Mhm,
That is where their money comes from. So
mhm,
all that stuff about, oh, they're not going to do it because of that, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. No one, they're not running the numbers if they think that. Those guys
mhm,
that have spent $12,000 on their account are so far that think about 12,000 compared to 1.6 million a day.
mhm.
That $12,000 guy, if they lost all of them, it would not affect them.
Well, and those $12,000 guys, I mean, they're done. I mean, once the
Mm-hmm.
level 13 cannon comes out, they're going to open their
Mm-hmm.
wallet and spend another, $700 or however,
Right.
God knows how much it costs to. Well, probably way less. Probably just
Not
like
even that.
a
Yeah.
hundred
$100.
dollars. I
Yeah.
mean, to do
$100
all your
in their minds.
cannons one level,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's got to. There can't be very much at all. And
No.
so, I mean, that's the only time they're spending money. I mean, pushers spend money to gem troops, I think, like the really high guys, just so they don't have to wait and everything. But I mean, when you're in the clouds for that long, you can queue everything up and not have to spend that much. But yeah, I mean, just the sheer number of people is so small that it's just
I
it does.
agree.
But so the reason that this is kind of coming up more lately, this whole cheating issue, iModding, sandboxing, etc., is the petition that
Mm-hmm.
Rejuven from Reddit Troopers put out there, and and so that's been getting a lot of reaction from the community, a lot of support from different people. And so one thing that Jake and I were just talking about before we got on the air was Daddy's reaction to it, which I thought
Yeah.
was pretty interesting. He talked to me, and then he also tweeted some stuff out. He also commented on one of Jake's videos, just saying. Well, you can summarize what he was saying, Jake.
Well, basically what he said was that this movement, this push by Rejuven and me putting out the video is like it's only going to uh, expand the people that use the cheat. That every time there's some publicity, there's someone that says, "Oh, what are you talking about? I didn't know there was cheats
Mm-hmm.
for Clash of Clans." And in a way, he's right. In a way, there is people that are casual players that don't have any idea about this, and maybe a few of them are gonna say, "Oh, I didn't know I could cheat and go do it." But
Mm-hmm.
my response to Daddy was, and I told him with all due respect, Daddy's a big name in the Clash community.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's been the strategy since day one. Let's don't talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. Maybe no one will know about it, that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that people like Master of some of these big clashers put cheat hack as a keyword, or I don't remember what you call it even.
A
Hell,
meta
here I am a
tag,
YouTuber now.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't even. I do YouTube. I don't even know what you call those things.
You
But
don't
anyways,
concern
when you
yourself
when
as
you put
much
these,
with
no,
with that stuff.
but there's a reason those guys put those cheat and hack in every video they make is because that's one of the most searched keywords for any game, much less Clash of Clans. So the don't ask, don't tell policy has been tried since day one, and the cheating is doing nothing besides growing. So
Mm-hmm.
I just disagree with that. And I understand his standpoint, and okay, but it's just I disagree. It's something I think we have to address. We have to fight it. A lot of the biggest games ever, when you talk about the biggest games ever, not just mobile games or PC games or Xbox games, whatever. Biggest games ever. Diablo 2, some Blizzard games, WoW, World of Warcraft, some of the COD games.
Mm-hmm.
The most popular ones, in my opinion, have been the ones that have fought hardest against cheaters. I think it was Black Ops 2. I can't remember, one of the Call of Duty games.
Mm-hmm.
Basically beat the cheaters. I mean, I used to play it, and by the end of that game cycle, when the next game was coming out, the companies, these companies that made these hacks, the aimbots, they had given up.
Mm-hmm.
They said, no, we give up. We can't do it. Every time we do it, they beat us, and then these people that paid money are pissed off, and they don't do it anymore. So, and to this day, people still play that version of the game because there's no cheaters.
Yeah, because I mean that was the one that I played way more than any other Call of Duty was Black Ops 2. And when I was playing it, I never really heard much about aimbotting stuff. Like, I hadn't played that, like, Call of Duty that seriously before that version. But then suddenly when the next one came out, I started hearing about it all over the place. And so, yeah, it's kind of interesting that
and it does cost
spot.
money. It does cost money, but in the long run, it costs a whole lot less than a game dying.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to continue these huge numbers, they've got to keep it from being overrun by cheaters. I mean, and it's not just about war. You and I are war guys. It's all we care about. I could honestly care less about the farming economy, but 90% of their players do care about the farming economy. 90% of their players do, when they hit next, want to try to find something with some loot. Well, the cheat is a lot more than just sandboxing at war. It lets these people, basically knit or cherry pick all the good loot. So it's an issue from war to farming to pushing. It affects everybody, and it ruins the game for each class in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really true. And I mean, one thing is that I guess in terms of the money and stuff, we were saying the casual players are the ones that put out the most money. Like the casual players, I would say, are probably less concerned with it or less aware of it, but they definitely still are aware of it, and nobody likes that. It's still just a distasteful idea to think that you're playing this game, you're putting time in this game, and there's other people that are doing it and, putting less time, getting more out of it, having way easier time, more efficient and stuff. And then there's also the thing of, like, people thinking, well, should I be doing it? Like, what is, like, is it okay to do that? Not, because I think that's the other thing, is that when they don't say anything, it's like, are they, saying it's okay, or, what exactly is their stance on it? But one thing that I thought was really interesting was what Daddy said about, that every update they work on patching these different, like, hacks and exploits and everything. They put some kind of effort in each time that they fix something, they do whatever, but then the companies, or the people that are putting out the exploits, they just take it a step farther and figure out a way around it. So yeah, it does seem like the next step is to be more open about it, and I would think the best thing would be to make examples of people who do it. But the issue with that, I was talking to Rancid the other day, and she was saying, how can you ever prove that someone's doing it? Like,
exactly.
Maybe way more people are, maybe so many of these people that are supposedly fair play people they're doing it too, who knows how many people are doing it. But my response is just like, there's a lot of people who are open about doing it. Like, start banning
there,
them.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure,
like if they admit to doing it, or they're caught on video on Twitch or whatever doing it, ban them and, kind of take it from there. See if there's other ways to sniff these people out, or at least that gets people to stop talking about it and just make, and publicizing it and making it seem like, it's just a normal part of the game, and making fun of players that don't use it. Like that's something that really pisses me off about some of these clans is, like, it's one thing, okay, if you want to use it, I get, in all the Max Town Hall 10 war community, everybody's using it as just a part of the game, which, I mean, it seems like it's got to be so much more time consuming up there if you have to, to attack so many times. But to say to other people, in the mixed war clan community, like, you guys are chumps, you guys are suckers for not doing this, like, you losers, it's just like that kind of stuff is so distasteful to me. And so to get those people, or at least make an example of someone, would make a big difference, I think.
Here's the deal. It's just like I was talking, and it's weird that we always come to these forced comparisons, but it's just like I was talking to someone about the Super Bowl and the Patriots and the Deflategate and all that stuff. And I said, look, all you have to do is say, okay, you guys you're out. You're not in the Super Bowl. You're out. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. You make an example of somebody. And if Supercell was doing that, if they were taking some of these top 15, top 20, top 40 people in the world, or war clans in the world, and saying, we know you're doing it, you're banned, you're out, you're done. Yeah, the 12,000 you spent, we appreciate it. Then people are going to say, whoa. This ain't worth it. I spent too much money, too much time. I'm not going to do that. But Supercell's not doing that. They are literally enforcing a don't ask, don't tell policy. They can say what they want to. Yes, they ban people, and what Daddy's saying, I've not been to Finland. I don't know what they're doing, and maybe they are taking efforts, but they're not doing enough. It needs to be something to where it's frowned upon, it's immediate. They're looking for, like you said, there's some people out there that are literally broadcasting it. They're putting YouTube videos, they're putting Twitch channels, and they're saying, here's what I'm doing, and none of them are getting banned. So it's got to be something to where you say, okay, if you are going to do this, we're going to at least, it's going to be cat and mouse. There's never going to be a time that it's not. Yes, if they come out with something that stops it, the hackers are going to come out with something that gets around that, and then they're going to fix that. But that's every game. Call of Duty, whatever. You can just go down the line. It's everybody. But the great games are the ones that spend the money, that fight it, and that pretty much eliminate it. There's always going to be some level of it, but right now in Clash of Clans, it's like you said, it's just part of the game. I mean, it's like, okay, hey, if you're not using it, you're just not taking advantage of something that's almost not endorsed by Supercell, but just allowed. Just like no one's getting banned, It's crazy.
And something that I'm kind of curious about is how many of those people that do cheat, that do use mods, would love for it to be banned, because then they wouldn't have to do, like there's people in top war clans who I'm sure were, not doing it, they wanted to play fair, or they just didn't want to, go to the effort of downloading it or whatever, were playing fair, and then realized everybody else is doing it, and then just being like, all right, I mean, I can either, quit the competitive war circuit, or I can do it too, and so maybe there's a whole bunch of people that do it all the time that would just be so relieved to have it out of the community, and then they could actually war for a couple hours a day instead of needing 6 hours a day.
Well,
to
that gets back
war
to
or whatever.
That gets back to the argument of that. Oh, you'll lose all these top players, and that's bullshit. You will not lose anybody that loves Clash of Clans. They'll say, okay, good. No one's doing it now. I don't have to do this. It's not something that I have to do to be competitive. If I'm good at this game, I'm going to be good at this game. Everybody at the top is saying, oh, well, if you don't do it, you're not competitive. And to some degree that's true, except for that if it was completely eliminated, if somehow, I don't want to spend the whole time talking about this stuff, but there's been a lot of people on my channel saying, okay, you can't stop it because the algorithm that shows where the traps are, what's in the clan castle. It's all located on the device. It's not once you hit the button, or once you pull up the map, the algorithm's already sent to your device, so it's locally. So that's why the hackers can beat it. Well, from what I understand on some of my people I don't know shit about this stuff, but people that do on my channel have said, look, here's what you can do. Don't send the algorithm until you hit the attack button. Okay? So once you hit the attack button, the algorithm's sent and now you're in. But now if you back out for any reason, sorry if you drop connection, sorry, shit out of luck, then you lose the war. There's no more backing out. Don't send the algorithm until you hit the attack button. Then the server sends the algorithm. Then it's on your device. But now if you back out, it's over. You see what I'm saying? So instead of sending it when you pull up the map, send it when you hit the attack button. Now, yeah, that's going to cause some people to drop server, their Wi-Fi drops, but that's a small price to pay to eliminate cheating, in my opinion.
But I mean that goes back to the thing that you never really know, or I mean I'm sure some people out there know, which is like it's not just necessarily that they're doing that in order to compensate for people with bad connections. I mean, it could be really, really difficult to code that into the game. I mean, it might just not be possible for them right now to be able to do it like that.
Well, and I know, and I have no knowledge of that, and I don't pretend to. And I've told people on my channel, look, I don't know what the solution is. All I know is I don't think they're trying hard enough to find one. Now, whether I'm right, wrong, I don't know. I'm just and someone asked me, it's like, why does it affect you? Why do you care? And I said, well, to me, it's a fair question. Basically, what the guy was saying was, why does that affect your enjoyment of the game? Why are you so adamant? And he could tell that I was passionate about it. And he said, why? And he wasn't being a troll. He said, why do I want, I want to understand. And I said, okay, fair question. Here's the answer. When you have spent the time that myself, that other members of One Hive, that the Fair Play community at a high level, Reddit troopers, so on and so on, have spent practicing attacks, building your bases to defend against the attacks that can 3-star, and that you face, and then you come up against a clan, and they have literally accomplished what you have accomplished in months, in days, maybe even hours. Just maybe they get on the video and say, oh, okay, here's how you do this. Let me practice it 18 times in the next 5 hours or whatever. And we get 6 minutes every 2 days. It sucks the fun out of the game. And I don't expect everyone to know that, because not everyone spends the time we do. So I understand that's our viewpoint. That's my viewpoint. It's not everyone's, but you have to understand that your viewpoint is not mine. This is what we do, and we love this game, and we spend hours and hours on it, maybe to the point that some would say that's dumb, or that's nerdy, or that's crazy, whatever, fine. But this is what we love to do, and what makes the game fun to us is the competitive side of it. So when someone is able to simply download an app and do what we've done in months and months and months, and do it in hours or days, that sucks the fun out of the game for us. And we all play this game because it's fun. So that was my answer to his question.
And the thing is, though, like, if someone is going to be 3-starring max Town Hall 10s and doing really good attacks, like, they can't just do that by downloading a program. Like, they're going to be a really, really good attacker also. Those guys in those top clans that are using it, like, they're not only using it, they're also really good attackers. But it's just the, like a football player with steroids or a football player without steroids. They're both really good football players, but one just has, an obvious advantage. And I mean, if I had it, then I would be 3-starring every time. I wouldn't have any of these, like, pathetic 1-stars where one little thing goes wrong that I didn't foresee. If I just do each raid once, then I'd never have an issue. But
exactly.
But yeah, so I mean that's part of the beauty of war is that first attack. Like if you can get a 3-star, that's great. If you can get a 3-star on the first attack, then that's something special, because you used your intuition, and you just just scouted out and thought hard enough about the base to figure out where everything was, and yeah, so it just completely takes away that whole accomplishment of that first attack 3-star, if it's really your 20th attack, or even your fourth attack or whatever.
Exactly. If today, let's just use Hulk as an example. Let's say today it came out that Hulk was a modder. No one knew it. He's a modder. I mean, it would be like finding out that. Yeah, probably. It would be like finding out that Mickey Mantle corked his bat, or that Michael Jordan was a cyborg. I mean, it would ruin it for everyone that enjoyed what he did. You know what I mean? It would just, and that's how people don't understand, is that we're playing at a level that, again, and I know that they didn't see it. They weren't there, but months of failing at Hola Wee Wees, or after the update and nerfs, failing at hog attacks. And literally these guys can download this app, and in a few days they can do what we did in a few, I agree. They have to be good attackers. Downloading the app doesn't guarantee 3-star, and people use that argument. I was like, that's irrelevant. The point is, they can do what we did in months and months and failure and banging our head against the wall, trying to figure out what works. They can do it in days what took us months, and that's not fair. And it sucks the fun out of the game. It's all about fun, and it sucks that out for people like us. That was my answer anyways.
And another solution would be to incorporate it into the game. I mean, like, if some people can do it, and if it just becomes so prevalent that, like half the people are doing it or something like that, then just make it so that everyone can do it, and then, I mean, it would, I wouldn't support that, but it would be a much better, than having half the people be able to do it and half the people not be able to do it.
You want to legalize marijuana, don't you?
Of course. But yeah. So
no, I'm just joking. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, yeah, for different reasons, but. No, for medicinal, for cancer and glaucoma.
Right.
And
yeah,
stuff
you got
I got pretty bad
glaucoma,
cataracts going on over here. It's rough, but so one big thing that's also been talked about a lot in the serious war community is stop fucking whining about modding, and people that keep bringing it up and etc. It's just kind of like, there's nothing we can do about it. Like, just stop talking about it. Stop worrying about it. So, I mean, I'm definitely on board with that in terms of just whining about it or complaining about it. But I mean, if there's something we can do, if there's a way to get Supercell's attention, there's something that they can do, then then that's something. But yeah.
Yeah, and we'll wrap it up. But I agree. There's no sense whining about it. But that don't ask, don't tell. Let's don't talk about it. Maybe nobody will know about it. That shit don't work. Any great game, any game that you can say, okay, this is probably one of the top 10 greatest games ever. Which Clash of Clans, honestly, the fact that it's a mobile app game doesn't matter. It's got potential to be that.
Yeah.
Any of those games spent big money fighting cheating. And all of them did. And if Supercell neglects it, this game will go down to cheating. It's just a matter of time. But we can move on to something else.
Yeah. But yeah, so Supercell, if you're listening, and cheaters, if you're listening, fuck you guys.
Yeah, stop being a bitch. I mean, just sack up. I mean, it can be done without cheating. I know, and I get people on my channel like, oh, obviously you use cheat. I'm like, no, I don't.
If you don't, that's a big compliment, though.
And here's the thing, and it's kind of, people like Hulk makes fun of me because I'm so technologically unadvanced. I wouldn't know how. I don't even know what the fuck a jailbroken device is. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do it. If someone said you have to jailbreak your devices, I say, okay, well, I'm out because I don't know how to do that.
That's it. Call me out.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what the fuck a jailbroke device is?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but it like voids your warranty and stuff, and I'm not really rich enough to be able to risk losing my phone and having to spend $800 on a phone or something. Doesn't appeal to me enough. So, I mean, it would be nice to be able to to practice a war attack once or something, but I'm sure it's just a slippery slope. You start thinking, I'll practice a war attack once, and before you know it, you're sitting there, 5 in the morning on your 30th war attack, like I gotta get it just right here. Gotta get it just right. And,
I would love. Yeah. I would. People always ask me. In fact, I made a video about it, practicing war attacks. I'm like, there is no practicing war attacks. Mm-hmm. When I say practicing war attacks, I mean we're in war and we're doing those attacks. I mean, I would love to. I would be a beast if I could practice war attacks, but whatever. I mean, I can't. So.
Well, so let's get into some of these update things, and I think maybe you and I had talked about this a little bit, or maybe it was someone else I was talking to, but one thing, I guess, just to jump across, over some of the other things into something that I thought was pretty interesting, was the what they list as experimental war changes, which is war stars being based on percentage destruction instead of having the town hall be worth anything. And I think that it would be kind of silly just because the vast majority of players are more casual players, and getting the town hall is, a big part of war and stuff. But for quite a while now in the real war clans, the town hall has been irrelevant. It's just exactly. A building, a high HP building that takes up 4x4 spaces. It's no different than a dark elixir storage or something like that. So the idea of making it irrelevant is kind of cool, because it is right now, and the problem with having the town hall be worth a full star and having people end up with these 90% 1 stars and stuff like that is that it discourages people from going for 3. So basically, if you're going to hog, you're going to get 3 or you're going to get 1. If you go wipe, if you just spam go wipe troops, you're going to get 2 no matter what. You're going to get your 2. You're definitely not going to get 3, but you're definitely going to get 2. And so to have people that do this, just crappy spammy attack. I mean, I'm talking, Town Hall 9. I'm talking people that are, not very skilled, don't put much thought into it, but can just easily 2-star. It just punishes people for making the effort to go for 3, and that's what we want, especially in our clan with like new recruits and stuff. We want people that are gonna go for 3. We want hoggers, and we want people now with using Laloon and stuff like that, and they always feel bad, they end up with an 88% 1-star and get down on themselves and stuff, and like, man, a 0-star, a 2-star, it's all the same, really. So if you get an 88% 1-star and you had a good shot at 3, I'd much rather you do that than if you go with just a go wipe or something and just get your 2 and call it a day. And so this idea of having it just based on the percent destruction would reward people who are actually making the effort to go for those more difficult attacks.
I agree with you, and I will say this. I don't think it would change the game any at Town Hall 8 and Town Hall 9. I don't know who that was, and no offense to that guy that he tweeted at you today, and it had a thing about the healer not being, and he had some thoughts on it.
Yeah,
and and it said something along the lines of Town Hall 9 would be now forget 2 stars, it's 3-star. And I'm like, what? for 3 months it's been that, but that's, I guess, for the higher level. But I agree. I don't think it would change Town Hall 8, Town Hall 9 at all, but it would be the best thing that ever happened to the game for Town Hall 10, in my opinion, because the Town Hall dive, that 2-star go wipe, let's just get that Town Hall, and then a few percentage on the outside and we win. That would be a thing of the past. And the reason that it took so long to develop, this Go Laloon or the Laloonian 3-star strategy at Town Hall 10, in my opinion, is because of that. It's because it was a 2-star game. If you got 2 stars, you won, and no one went past that. And so if you did it a percentage based, and the Town Hall literally was just a high HP building, all of a sudden it's no longer about getting to that town hall and protecting that town hall. It's about how can I take this base out as a whole. I want 80%, I want 90%, I want 100%. I don't want 50% in the town hall. And I think it would be the best thing ever for the game at Town Hall 10. Town Hall 9, Town Hall 8, it's already a 3-star game. It's been a 3-star game. But Town Hall 10 would change, and I think it would be for the better.
But there is definitely, that tier of war clans and then all the casual war clans where it would make a difference at Town Hall 9. There are war clans out there where it matters if you 2-star a base versus 1-starring a base. That's still a thing for clans out there. So that would be, it would just encourage everyone to be developing more in the right direction instead of a clan of Go Wipers, beating a clan of Hoggers because the Hoggers have an off war and they get, they leave some 1s on the table or something. I don't know if that ever happens, but
I know what you're saying. It would encourage everybody to forget about that.
Yeah, people that are learning 3-star attacks, like you just see people get so. We've had some people that like newer players that come in and their first like 3 wars, they get high 80s, like low 90s 1-stars in all their attacks, and they feel so bad. And it's like, man, you were, this one little break away from getting the 3 stars. Like if you. There's a lot of things you could do that would have guaranteed you 2 stars, but then we would kick you out of the clan. Like if you're getting a extremely high percentage 1-star and you were that close, that one little break away from getting 3 stars, then then you're a potentially useful member. So. Yeah,
no question. It's the same way when someone comes into our clan. And if they get a 2-star and they're or a 1-star, and like you said, it could be an 80% 1-star or an 85% 1-star. They obviously feel really bad and they're like, sorry, it just didn't go right. But that's not discouraging to us because it's like you said, there's probably a minor mistake that went wrong. That would have been a 3-star. So that's good, and I think the game needs more than that. The game wouldn't be fun if there was no possibility. Think about this. Think about the game in a state where there was no possibility of a 3-star. Town Hall 10, Town Hall 9, Town Hall 8. If you had your base set up, quote, correctly and a good base build, that there was no attack that could 3-star you, that wouldn't be fun. What's fun about it is that balance of, I can get this 3-star, but if I screw up, I'm screwed. You know what I mean? It's that razor's edge. That's what's fun.
Yeah, and it seems like it's been kind of tipping. Like I remember when I first started Clan Wars, coming up on like a year ago now, right? That's crazy. That it was about getting 2 stars on town, it's about 3-starring Town Hall 8s and 2-starring Town Hall 9s and maybe 1-starring Town Hall 10s, and now slowly it's just crept up and up and up until we are at the point where people are regularly 3-starring really solid Town Hall 10s, and yeah, it's interesting. I think it's a big testament to the just the intelligence and the creativity of the attackers, but also you got to give it to Supercell. They obviously had that in mind, that you should be able to 3-star Town Hall 10s and not just modders with crazy armies real high up, but the average serious war player to be able to do it. And they introduced a troop that allowed you to do it. That they took a year between the 2 troops, the last 2 troops that they released, and at first it just seemed, kind of, just kind of like a silly whatever troop, and it turned out it's completely changed the game. It's revolutionized war attacking, and it's made it so that Town Hall 3-starring Town Hall 10s is just becoming more and more and more prevalent, and so it really, I think a big part of it has to come down to them, and either they were smart enough to know that that was going to happen, or maybe they just got lucky. I don't really know if they could be smart enough to know how that was going to get developed, or maybe they think it's too strong now. I mean, I don't know what that was another big thing that a lot of those updates had in common, was different ways to nerf the Lava Hound.
Well, my opinion on that is this. Before the Lava Hound was introduced, and I made a video about it, there has never been a game with this strategic of level that had that fine of balance. And what I mean by that was the slightest screw up, and I'm talking Town Hall 9 now, the slightest screw up on a tough base means boom, no 3-star. But it was always possible. The perfect attack, you get the 3-star, and that makes the perfect game. So props to Supercell. I mean, they had it. It's there now. Because of the Lava Hound, it's a little OP. People that could not 3-star high-level Town Hall 9s before now can with Lava Hounds. So to me, that throws the balance off a little bit. But Town Hall 10s needed it.
That's a good. I forgot about the whole Town Hall 9 thing. It's kind of a disaster at Town Hall 9, but yeah, Town Hall 10 is it's a godsend.
Yeah,
so.
They had to have it. There had to be something, because before that there was literally. And I say this as a good Town Hall 10, an upgraded Town Hall 10 with a good design. There was literally no way to 3-star. And like we just talked about before, that's not fun. There's no, if you can't win a game, it's not fun. So when I say win, to me and you, that's a 3-star. A 2-star is not a win. That's almost, So I think that's what it was. I think it was a perfect balance. And in an effort to balance the Town Hall 10, it sort of became it threw off the Town Hall 9 scene, which is mine and your scene, so it affects me. But Town Hall 10s needed it. I mean, and honestly, Laloon at Town Hall 10 is still there's a razor's edge there. A little screw up, and you're not getting the 3-star. So it's tough, and props to Supercell, because that's why I made that video. It might be the best game ever of its type, and I believe that it very well could be.
Yeah, and that is definitely an interesting thing, is that this troop that has opened up the possibility of 3-starring Town Hall 10s, I think just because of the trickle down, and just because of the way the troop works, has made it possible to just spam 3-stars on max Town Hall 9s now. If everything breaks right. I mean, there's people that go in, don't lure the clan castle, don't take out the queen, spam, 5 hounds and 20 loons and 4 rage, and just, get it, and just because the bombs happen to drop on the clan castle or happen to drop on the queen, and that was you could never spam, and 3-star max Town Hall 9, like that was completely unheard of. So that's definitely an imbalance there. That's not.
Well, and I don't know about what your clan experience is, but in ours anyways, now Town Hall 9s can still screw up Laloon, on a max Town Hall 9, it can go bad, but a Town Hall 10 literally almost cannot screw it up. If they've got 5 spells, if they've got decent level heroes, they've got the 240 troop space, they literally can't screw it up on a Town Hall 9. And that changed the game, because before, we had a lot of Town Hall 10s come down to hit our Town Hall 9s and failing. They brought their go wipes, they brought whatever. They didn't get 3-stars. Now it's almost
Town Hall 9.
And now it's almost a guarantee. If a Town Hall 10 comes down and knows how to Laloon, it's over. It's a 3-star. Just forget about it. Move on.
Yeah. But when you say it was literally impossible to 3-star Town Hall 10s before Lava Hounds, I mean, there were clans that were doing it, and there's players that were doing it. They just have maxed heroes. I mean, that's just such a huge component of it. So I think that's kind of the caveat. But also they might have a little extra assistance too.
Exactly. And not only that, you had to have maxed heroes. And honestly, there was bases, a good Town Hall 10 base design against Go Wipe or whatever they were doing it with. You could stop it. It had to be a bad base design. They had to have max heroes, and there might have been a little assistance, like you
Mm-hmm.
talked about. But it was not a 3-star game, even at the high level, even at Ice Ice Baby level.
Mm-hmm.
2-star Town Hall 10, that was what you expected. If you got a 3-star, that was a bonus. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like Town Hall 9. There wasn't that perfect balance to where the perfect attack resulted in 3 stars, any mistakes resulted in 2 stars or less.
And one thing that which I doubt that they're thinking this far ahead or this in depth into it is if everything stays the way it is, the Town Hall 9s that have all been camping at Town Hall 9 just because it's so much more fun for war, they're all going to go up to Town Hall 10. I mean, if Town Hall 9 is a spam game and then now Town Hall 10 is where the really balanced war attacks are at, they're going to move up. I mean, I'm going to move up. We're all going to move up because it's, that'll be where the fun's at. That's where the sweet spot
that
will
razor's
be.
edge is. I agree. And it's like you said, that's what players want, is that perfect balance of it's that competition. It's that you can do something that others can't because they're not quite as good as you, and it's such a fine line. That's what players like you and I and these high level war raiders want, is that razor's edge of screwing up versus being an awesome attack that everybody's like, oh my god, that's sweet. But if you go to, and maybe this is another segue here, you start talking about Town Hall 11, I don't think that's there yet. And maybe I'm completely wrong, but here's my argument against Town Hall 11. Every Town Hall since the day this game was made that they introduced a new Town Hall, all of the defenses, every defensive building you have is upgradable. Well, if they're coming out with level 13 cannon, level 10 mortar, whatever it is, 9 mortar, whatever it is, and they're raising these defenses, if they come out with Town Hall 11 in a few months, they've got to raise them again. They can't have a Town Hall go up and no defense level raise. So I think that's actually, people are saying, oh, they're getting ready for it. I think it's the opposite. I think that's showing us it's not ready yet.
Maybe, it seems like they would have
saved.
It seems like they would have saved level 13 cannon, level 13 archer tower, all the level 7 troops. I mean, it seems like they would have held on to them and given them to the Town Hall 11s, because I mean, now if Town Hall 10s already can have all these level 7 troops, all these level 13 point defenses and stuff like that, then where do they go once they get to
right?
To
you
Town
can't raise it again. You can't say okay, level 13 cannon, and then in 2 months when it's Town Hall 11 time, okay, you have to have level 14 cannon. You can't, it just doesn't make any sense. And so people keep saying that, oh, they're building up for it, or they're getting ready for it. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It can't be. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something
that I could see that would indicate that they're getting ready for it is giving the easy availability of 3-starring Town Hall 9s very easily, and making it possible for regular people with 20-something heroes to 3-star Town Hall 10s, and then Town Hall 11 will be the 2-star game, and so that's the one thing that that kind of makes a little bit of sense, but I mean, I don't know how much thought they give to the the perfect balancing of war. And so, I mean, if they cared more about war, I think we'd have war tournaments and war leagues. I mean, I feel like the war community is very neglected. I mean, they're starving for good matchups, good war. I mean, it's just
it's
huge pool of clans, and so now the prevalence of ambushing and hunting and stuff just to get those matchups going. I mean, if war was really on their a big thing on their radar, then I think they'd focus more on that. But I mean, maybe they do when there's issues with it, or why is that?
Well, here's the deal. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, and it was because of the daddy comment, and I was thinking, here's these guys that go to Finland. They're sitting across the table from the developers of this game, and I'm thinking about how all the things I would say to them, but none of them are war guys. None of them are hardcore war guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're neglected. Every guy that goes there and sits across the table from the developer or the CEO is someone besides a hardcore war guy, and we need somebody to say, hey, here's what we're craving. You know, it's not just the pushers or the farmers that are all represented there. It's someone else that says, hey, here's what the war community is craving. So it's funny that you said that, because I was talking with Rex the other day, and we were talking about it, and we need somebody. You know, it's I don't know who the person would be, and he was saying, well, you know, his thing was, well, you need to try to reach out to them for that, but I don't know if that works to reach out to Supercell. I don't know. You know, they're so big, but somebody needs to be able to sit there and say, okay, yeah, I understand that you trophy guys and you pushers want this and this, but hey, what about us war guys? You know, we're growing. The war community is growing. The game's been out for 3 years now, and the war has only been out for 1 year. The war lovers are growing. There's more and more, and I think that we need some type of representation.
That's a good point. I never really thought about it like that. There's all these pushers and farmers and stuff there's a huge group that they send out there, and I'm sure most of them do clan wars, but none of them are
not like
war guy. No. You know, none of them are making videos like you and some other people are making videos. So Supercell, if you're listening, here's your candidate, Jake from One Hive. Send him over there.
Dude,
I'll be the face of clan wars.
Finland. Yeah, I'll go to Finland. I'll talk to them. Hey, and honestly, I don't. Guys like us, and I guess we tend to moan a lot, maybe more than some other people, but I love the game. Honestly, I love Supercell. I played their other games, Boom Beach, not as hardcore, but obviously, but I don't ever want to bash them, because they have created one of my favorite games that I've ever played in my life. So it's not even about that, but I do think we need somebody that's sort of the voice or the representation of what we love about the game, and I think there's a void there.
That's true. That is really interesting that never seems to be a big subject, you know, of discussion and stuff. But the other thing is that a lot of those guys represent the high level pushing community, which is an even smaller. It's a tiny sliver of the you know, whole makeup of Clash of Clans. You know, there's all these tons and tons of casual farmers and stuff who war, you know, once a week or whatever. There's so few people that are in that really high level you know, pushing mix, and so that is kind of interesting. I was thinking, well, yeah, they don't have a war person because, you know, pushing and farming are the two biggest things, but war is way bigger than pushing.
If it hasn't taken it over already, it's going to take it over. It's just a matter of time, because so many more people every day. I've had people on my channel say, "Hey, I never even really liked war until I found your channel, and now I love it. It's my favorite part of the game." So that is the growing part of the game. Pushing, I think, is not the growing part. It's been there. It is what it is. But the war part is the untapped potential. Let's say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so speaking of Lava Hounds, I guess there's a few different segues that I was leaning towards here, but just since we were talking about that, let's go back to it for a second. One of the things that has popped up in all the updates, and something that people have been talking about for a very long time, is nerfing the Lava Hounds. And so, if Supercell is next level on this, and it's all intentional, they want it to be OP and everything, and they're going to kind of add to it, then that's one thing. But if they were to nerf it, what do you think would be the most balanced way to knock it down a peg?
If I worked at Supercell and you said, "Okay, Jake, you're in charge of nerfing the Lava Hounds," I would simply reduce the lava pups, because I saw a video, and it was that, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but Daddy's video today, it was 6, it's a high level Town Hall 10, 6 Lava Hounds, balloons, heroes, 3-star, and it's just because when those things bust, if they're in the right position, it's, they can wipe that base out. And so I would just simply reduce the pups. You could also say, okay, let's, do a hog-esque nerf. Air mines do double damage, something along those lines.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like, an extra air mine or just a little more damage from air mines or something like that. But that might be that might overbalance it too much, or
right. Yeah, you can't have it to where it's back to where no one uses it. I mean, they don't want that. They want people to use it, and it's tough. I mean, I don't envy their position because it is hard. It's a hard balance. That's what was so amazing to me about Town Hall 9 pre-Lava. They hit that balance, and that's not an easy task. That I don't envy that task, because it's, if you set out today and said, okay, we're going to make it this perfect balance, it would be very hard to do, and they haven't.
Yeah, and it's such a long time coming to, it's such a long process to get there, and I mean, just huge, and that's another thing that that I want to say too is kind of what you said about Supercell. Like, I mean, I definitely on the podcast and on Twitter and stuff, like to give them shit for different things and stuff. But yeah, I mean, they do an amazing job and turned something that people just thought of as iPhone games are just little casual game, and I've always loved mobile games because it's just like you have it, you don't need to be carrying around a Game Boy or a PSP or whatever. You always have it on you, and I would always be into different phone games, but every one of them I would pick up, play for either like a week or maybe even up to a couple months, and then move on to the next
Crush.
one. There's I had a long line of different ones, and so I thought Clash of Clans was gonna be like that. Well, actually I didn't. Once I got introduced to Clash of Clans by my nephews, I knew that it was gonna be a game changer for me because it reminded me so much of these games, Red Alert and Warcraft 2 and stuff like that I had played when I was younger.
You mentioned that last podcast. Yeah, and that was not for me. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to be another Candy Crush. I played it for a few months and I was like, this is stupid, and it was over. I was so into it for a few months, but then it was moved on. But I had no idea how intricate it was, how strategical it was, and so that's what's so beautiful about Clash is that I always tell people, like, my 10-year-old niece, she can pick it up, she can do a few raids, she can upgrade a few buildings and have fun with it, and everybody in between her and me can have fun with it. That's what's so amazing about Clash to me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so anyway, the thing that I would think with the Lava Hounds is, I mean, I guess the less pups makes the most sense, just because that's what's OP is creating all these extra troops, and that's why it keeps just being more, bring more and more hounds, less and less balloons, because balloons, when they die, they're not, spitting out a bunch of minions. The Lava Hounds, it's the only way to not 3-star in when you're overmatched the base that you're attacking with your Lava Hounds is if they don't die. I mean, that's the only way to lose in those situations where you're like, oh, this is no sweat. If you're so overmatched over them that their air defenses aren't killing your hounds, then you're not going to 3-star, because you need them to die in order for the pups to take everything out. So you'll run out of time if they don't die. So yeah, that is, I guess that's what's so fun about them, is that they do create all that stuff, but that would make the most sense. The nice thing about having an extra air mine is that that it would, like, it would really factor into how you design your base. Like where you put it would make a big difference, because I mean the way people structure their bases to guard against Gola Loon right now is, there's different things that go into it and stuff, and it takes some strategy.
Even if they went the route of hogs of 1.5 times damage or 2 times damage, it still factors into the way you build your base, because if that air mine hits your Lava Hound at the end of the raid, doesn't help you at all, because you want it, like you said, you want it to bust to make the 3 stars. So if you build it that way to where, okay, this air mine does more damage to the Lava Hound than, say, a balloon or a dragon, whatever. Let's say it almost busted immediately. It still has to do with base design, because if you have that in the wrong spot and they come in, and even for cleanup attacks, okay, now I know where your air mines are. Now I can come in from the opposite side, and my Lava Hounds won't hit those air mines till the end of the raid. It doesn't hurt me. I can still. So that makes sense in my mind. Sort of like hogs, that's a good nerf to me. But you're right. That's the reason you started off when you first started seeing Lava Hounds used. There was 1 or 2, then there was 3 or 4, and now you're seeing 6 freaking Lava Hounds, and it's like that's obviously what's OP about them is that these little pups come out and they wreck the base.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be the nice thing is if you could have a mine at Town Hall 9 and not Town Hall 10. Somehow.
Yeah, that
once you go to Town Hall 10, you lose a couple air mines.
Yeah, like give Town Hall 9s like 5 air mines, and Town Hall 10 get 3.
Exactly. But I think they want people moving up, so yeah. It's,
and maybe you might be right. Maybe it is just simply, hey, too many Town Hall 9s. You guys, Jake and Boaz sitting at Town Hall 9 just chilling. Y'all move your ass up. I don't know.
I wonder if it messes with the balance of the game to have a big like traffic jam at Town Hall 9, But maybe it's not a big. I mean, maybe it's only serious war players that are doing it anyway. And so I mean, because
I think so.
There's no way I would still be at Town Hall 9 if I was just farming and pushing. I mean, that would be crazy, to not be building infernos as quickly as possible and stuff. I mean, there's no. That won't make any sense in any context besides war. But for war, it makes sense for so many. I mean, there's so many reasons that you either stay at 9 or you just worry about your offense and not your defense, and make sure you concentrate on your walls and your heroes and stuff like that. And but I mean, it changed the game. But it's like you are either designing your base for, like, you can tell when someone's a war player or they're not. Like, there was a guy that came to my clan earlier. the guy that was talking about the Tesla trick that we can maybe talk about later. He had it was all Town Hall 8 defenses. He had upgraded, I think, the wizard towers to Town Hall 9 level, but besides that, all Town Hall 8 wizard towers and air defenses. But everything else was Town Hall 8, and then he had all Legos and like 40 lava walls or something, and had level 1 expos, and I'm sure all max Town Hall 9 troops. And so, I mean, as someone back in the day before war, you'd look at that guy and be like, this guy is the dumbest guy I've ever seen. Like, what is he thinking? And now it's like you look at him like, of course. So.
That guy's pretty slick, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what changed is that, from my understanding, and I don't know if this to be accurate, but from what I've been told, is like the vast majority of the town of Clash is Town Hall 8 range. We are so into war, and what we see is all through the prism of war that it's different for you and I. But for the average casual clasher, they're in that Town Hall 7, 8 range. And what you and I talk about is different. It's not the game that they're experiencing day to day.
Yeah,
but I also get that. I also get the guy that says, "Hey, I just now got to Town Hall 8, and I'm starting to enjoy a war." You know what I mean? It's like again, I think that's the growing part of the game is the war community. It's not the pushing that's been here since day one. It's not the farming that's been here since day one. It's the war community people that are coming to that strategic point of the game, Town Hall 8, Town Hall 9, because before then it's not strategic. It's just spam your troops, get the 3-star. At Town Hall 8 is when you really start saying, okay, there's some strategy involved in this, and that's the growing part of the game to me.
Yeah. Well, so that's interesting because I mean everyone kind of is accepted, you know. I mean that Town Hall 9. I mean, a lot of people say Town Hall 9's the best. You know that there's some argument there. A lot of people say Town Hall 10's the best, but there's not really any anyone that would say Town Hall 8 is better than Town Hall. I mean, there's some people that stick at Town Hall 8 just because it's different and it's fun, maybe with their second account or whatever. But Town Hall 9's clearly, got so much more stuff than Town Hall 8, so many more different options and attacks and stuff like that. So, do you think that there's more people at Town Hall 7 and 8 because things start taking too long when you get to Town Hall 9? Like, do you think people lose interest when it starts getting like 14-day upgrades and stuff like that? Do you think that's the reason why? Like, do you think they're quitting after that, or they're just like started more recently and that's where they are now, and pretty soon Town Hall 9 is going to be the most people? Why do you think there's more people in that range?
That's a good question. I think that it's a combination of things. One of two things happens. When you hit Town Hall 8 and all of a sudden it's not, you're not, I mean, I don't know if you remember farming at Town Hall 6, Town Hall 7.
Oh my God.
It's so, yeah, it's just you throw some troops down, you get some loot, you upgrade your shit. It's like one raid and you're ready to upgrade something. So at that point, when they hit Town Hall 8, all of a sudden, like I said, there's strategy involved. And either you enjoy that or you don't. So it's either, okay, I love this game now, or this is pissing me off and I'm done. Also, 270 something thousand new downloads a day. It's just the math where things start taking longer.
Yeah.
That's where the bottleneck is. So I think it's a combination of the two. It's where you decide whether you love this game or hate it, and it's where the bottleneck is of just that's when things slow down.
And it's always been since before war. Town Hall 7 was when the game really started. The other stuff was just kind of the appetizer, the lead in to the real game. Town Hall 1 through 6, and then Town Hall 7, like that's when it's you're turning into a semi-relevant player. You're just there's so much more going on with your base, and I just remember that about Town Hall 7, thinking that, like, wow, like this is a whole new world. And it was also the peak of farming for me. I remember doing one raid, upgrading a defense, doing one raid, upgrading a troop. It's just like freaking awesome. But the interesting thing, and I don't know if they did this on purpose, is that Town Hall 7 is where you can first become relevant in war. Like, obviously not in like true, real war clans and stuff, but when you have, level 2 dragons and level whatever it is, 4 rage or whatever, I mean, you can easily beat any other Town Hall, 3-star, any other Town Hall 7. You have a shot at 3-starring Town Hall 8s that have lower air defenses or crappy layouts and stuff like that. And so you can actually start being relevant in war, in lower level war clans and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting too, that they made it so that Town Hall 7, where the game used to begin, is where the game now begins for war also. Yep.
And like I said, the Town Hall 7 range, again, my 10-year-old niece can play to Town Hall 7 and still have fun. After that, she's probably going to say, I don't like this, it's too hard. You know what I mean? It's going to lose interest to her. So that's the breakover point. Do you play this game at a strategic level, or do you play it as something that you pick up and it's Candy Crush to you?
Yeah. I remember my nephews, the ones that got me into the game a long time ago, they were playing, and one of them rushed to Town Hall 8. I remember It's like, no, dude, when he's at Town Hall 7, cancel the upgrade. No, I want the, whatever it was, Dark Elixir, drill, or I want
the drill or
the
something.
something, or something that he wanted. And I'm like, no, you'll get it. You'll get there. Just wait. I mean, you need to, get farther in your Town Hall 7 stuff.
Right.
And so both of them, they were so into it, and then one hit Town Hall 7, the younger one, and one hit Town Hall 8, the older one, and then they just petered out. Their attention span with it was just not there anymore, and they moved on to the next game. I remember it was some like superhero fighting game or something was the it game, and I was like, well, I'm an old guy. I'm not really caring about what like the it game that everyone's playing is. Like, this is my game. Like, I love playing this game. And the interesting thing though is that they have now come back to it. And I don't know if it's now that they're older and more mature, like a year later or whatever, that they have the patience for it, or maybe that it's more popular, or maybe it's war. I mean, so many people stopped and then started again when war came out. And so, I mean, maybe once they, started warring and they're like, wow, now there's a point to the game. Now there's a point to upgrading all this stuff and putting in all this time. Yeah.
That's what we talked about in the first time we did this, is that, before war, we both enjoyed the game, but obviously we're on a trajectory to put it down, because what would be the point? And I don't know that, our nieces and nephews are at that point, but I think in general, the Clash community, they probably did bring back a lot of players saying, "Oh, wait a minute, I was a Town Hall 9, I was something, and now I can get some value out of that, to where if I'm in a war, I'm an asset to my clan more than just what level troops do I have." Because really, before then, that's all it was. What level troops do you have? Are you active? Do you donate those troops? If so, you're awesome. And now it's totally different.
And the one way to compete before was in trophy pushing. I mean, in any good games, like, it needs to have an element of competition to it. And so if you don't like trophy pushing, which so many players don't like trophy pushing, then there's no competition. I mean, it's a competition among your clan mates who can level up the fastest, who can farm the most, who's the higher gold grab, stuff like that. But I mean, that's so not real competition compared to war and having the organized matchups and everything, and being on the teamwork with your clan and stuff like that. So,
exactly.
Definitely a huge difference. Well, so
it's.
Go ahead. No, I was going to get on to one of the next update things.
No, go ahead. Let's see what you got.
So let's see. Oh yeah, so the one that I think they have needed for a very long time, and now it's kind of cool that there's making some noise about it, is the single player quests, because every other game like this has some kind of component like that. I mean, that's just what games like this do. There was a guy, he was a real life friend of one of my clan mates who doesn't really play anymore, but he would only play single player. Like, he would never attack. He would collect his mines and collectors and gem his base and stuff, and he had like a really, really good base, and he would get a bunch of trophies just from defense and stuff, and he played, the goblin levels and stuff, and I couldn't really wrap my head around it, like, if he was had social anxiety to the point where he didn't even want to interact with people online or something, or like what could possibly cause you to not want to, partake in this game that you're obviously spending a bunch of time on or whatever. But there's people that don't like, the whole PvP, just the concept of it, and the environment, and the trolling and the competition and everything that goes along with it. There's people that intentionally don't play Call of Duty, or they play Call of Duty and just play single player missions. There's a big chunk of people that do that, and so the fact that Clash of Clans never catered to that, and I think Boom Beach was kind of their response to that, that segment of the gaming population was like, here, if you want to, close yourself off and be antisocial and everything, and don't want to interact with other humans, then, and only fight against computers, like, here you go, but it just makes sense to have that in Clash of Clans too. Like, why not?
It's so strange because I know exactly what you're talking about. And in so many games, like we talked about on the last podcast when we did it, that I played EverQuest 2. And it had a small PvP element. And I hated it. I never enjoyed it. And so I guess this game to me is that perfect balance of, yes, it's PvP, I'm attacking some guy's base, but it's not real-time PvP. So that's what I enjoy. I don't like, because there's always that little 12-year-old punk that camps or makes, finds an exploit or a weak way to play the game. They don't ever just run in there and let's see who wins. And that's my style. And so I always got my ass kicked at true PvP. So I love the fact that, okay, he can set up his base and then he's detached from it. Now I can attack his base and there's no, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's
that makes sense. And there was no, go ahead.
I get the not wanting true PvE and sort of the isolated. I want to do my thing, and I agree. I don't think Supercell has really catered to that single player aspect of the game.
And there was a genre of games that I was very much closed off, didn't want to be interacting with other people, which was RPGs. I used to play a lot of RPGs, and I loved the single player ones because there was someone that sat down and wrote a story for it, and it was, you'd follow it, you'd go, you'd follow the quest lines and everything the way that they were planned out, and it was just, if it was a good game, it was just well balanced, it was rewarding that they had, different, just the different plot twists and things that would happen was just, laid out the way that someone envisioned it, whereas things like, World of Warcraft and stuff is just, like, I didn't like the fact that, because you're doing the same kind of stuff, and, like, you're leveling up and grinding and everything, and there's much more of a reason for the grinding. It's not grinding just so you sitting alone in your room can be better, can beat this next boss.
Exactly.
It's like, you're actually...
Hey, Mom, come look at what I did!
I mean, it's still pretty nerdy to be playing World of Warcraft and grinding for 12 hours at a time or something, but it's that you're doing it for a reason, which is to be able to beat other people and stuff. I never could get into that just because it seemed so like kind of meaningless that year. But I never actually played. Maybe there were like a bunch of storyline quests and stuff. Like now that I hear more about
all those games.
Now that I hear more about it, I realize that I think there was a whole bunch of components like that. But it's good that I didn't get into it because, man, that would have been way too addicting for me.
Let's say Call of Duty. There's a reason they hire Kevin Spacey to, in the single player mission. A ton of people like that aspect of the game. It's not just about the multiplayer. They would simply put out a multiplayer game. So I think I agree with you. I think Clash of Clans is probably missing out on a little bit of it, but you can't really knock them. My God, they got the most popular game probably on the planet right now.
Yeah, but it just seems like another way to grind. Because it's like there's this thing you do, which is farming. You just farm, you get these 3 different resources, you do it over and I don't really do it anymore. I just do war. I once in a while will get a farming raid in, but it's completely, stale to me now. So the idea of having quests and, cause when I'm farming, I'm, barching, like, I could be farming with expensive troops and stuff, but then it just seems like not smart because I'm not making,
Not
potentially
maximizing
losing
what you're
money.
doing.
Yeah, I'm not maximizing what I'm doing, and I mean, I might be having a lot more fun, but it's not. It's kind of seems even more pointless then, and so then
Hmm.
I go out and I'm barching, and it's just doing like this brainless thing over and over and over. Whereas if you're doing quests, you could, they could really make it interesting. Like you have to
Yeah.
beat this base with this army composition. Like how fun
Hmm.
would that be to, just have. It could be like like a Town Hall 9 war raid where you have to do just exactly right in order to win it. They could make it like that. You have to beat this base with one healer, 15
Hmm.
goblins, and a Valkyrie or something. Like, how are you going to do it? There's a way to do it, but you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's just and I haven't even completed the achievement for the single player bases. Like, I would love to go in and do it. It looks like it would be fun, but it's something
You
that one
haven't
of
beat
the
Sherbert Towers?
no, it's it's actually one of the
Oh,
tips
dude.
that I give to new players, or like we did this episode where I gave like my tips for new players, and one of them is don't beat all the goblin levels, because when you're pushing, it's super important to have this source of trophy free income, where you can go in and just take
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
you can take out loot with no strings attached. Like
Hmm.
if you're low on loot when you're trophy pushing, the only way to get more loot is to go out and risk trophies. And if you have, can't build an army, then you just have to sit there and wait, or gem resources or whatever. But if you have, one of the top, one of the last 5 or so
Hmm.
goblin levels
Right.
available, you just go
Refills you,
in,
basically.
yeah, with your heroes or whatever, just jack a bunch of loot, then you have enough for an army all of a sudden, and you didn't lose any trophies. So that
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
was a reason that and so people make fun. They look at my profile like, "What the hell? You have 120 goblin stars or whatever." It's like, yeah, dude, I don't really. Now it probably doesn't really make much difference. I don't know if I'm ever really gonna trophy push again. Like, maybe someday. So it's not
What's
really any
What's
reason to
funny
bother.
though is like right now, if you had attempted or beaten those levels back, let's say a year ago,
Hmm.
pre-war and pre getting to the point where you are now, it would blow your mind how much easier they are now because you
Yeah.
simply can look at the base and break it down just like you do a word base. Just like,
Yeah.
oh, boom, 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 and build the
Yeah.
army and it's done. I mean, like you will wreck it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's really interesting, because I've looked at, I don't know if it was a screenshot. Like, I remember seeing a screenshot of one of them back in the day and just being like, oh my god, that's such a hard
Yeah,
base. Like,
it's so
wow,
hard.
how could you do that? And now it's just like you look at it and it's like, yeah,
Like I could
good
barge
luck,
that.
buddy. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a good point. That's the whole base design process and everything has come so far. I mean, the way
It
that
has. It's crazy.
base design and attack design have been going back and forth. One adapts and the other adapts, and one adapts and the other adapts, and it just keeps
Hmm.
you know keeps on going. So yeah, I think that would be really cool. I mean, in the one hand, to be able to have some other kind of achievement besides just gaining those 3 resources. They say receive red rubies, which I don't really know what you would get with those. Maybe they'd make it something cool, but the thing that I think would be really awesome would be them setting up these situations of, like, you have these troops, you have to beat this base, or you have to do this thing with just your queen, or I don't, just, it seems like they could be really, really interesting.
All right, well, that concludes episode 1 of the War Log. This same conversation between Jake and myself will be continued on episode 2, which should be coming out shortly. As always, you can find us at clashofclanspodcast.com or by searching Clash of Clans Podcast on iTunes. You can follow me on Twitter at TrueSonBoaz. You can also follow Jake at OneHiveRaids. and you can check out his YouTube channel, which is called One Hive Raids. Until next time, keep it clashy.
Introducing Clan Wars, Clan versus Clan Wars. Don't believe me? Ask my boy. That's right, we got Clan Wars. Clan Wars are finally here. You've been waiting a couple of years. Hope you got your troops maxed out. Hope you got your loot maxed out. All the time you were chasing cups, you should have been farming gems and stuff. Let's get your defense up. Get better at attack because it's gonna take a lot more than just sniping town halls. If you go against my clan, we're gonna 3-star all of y'all. Howling Wolf's the clan name. I'm Aries with few in numbers. But if you come against my clan, that Howling Wolf is gonna hunt it. Infernos on fire. Heal spells and hog riders. Go wee and go white. Got giants so healers take flight. Dragons and race spell. Fire flame burn just like hell. Oh well, sit back and listen. Clash of Clans got new edition. CLANWARS. Now we're gonna really see which clans are the best. Clash of Clans, I'm the man. Got my iPhone in my hand. Prepping day is about to end. Come on, let the war begin. Got CC troops on ready to fight. Play Clash of Clans both day and night. Making lots of raids, no time for resting. Hope the servers don't lose connection. Got my heroes, got my spells. Kept all full, so all is well. Enemy bases best beware, cause I'm powered up like Supercell. Clan Wars. We got Clan Wars. We got Clan Wars.